In George Platen's world, knowledge isn't earned, it's downloaded. Imagine a society where, on your 18th birthday, you simply sit down and sophisticated educational tapes implant an entire professional skill set directly into your brain. This ritual, known as Education Day, is the single most important moment in life, determining your career and your place in the galaxy. For years, George had a clear goal. He wanted to be a registered computer programmer. This profession was the gateway to the desirable, grade A worlds like Novia. George was so determined that he kept a secret. He had been studying advanced physics and mathematics from books, hoping to give his brain a head start for the tapes. He was ambitious, confident, and entirely alone in his conviction that self-study mattered. Then came Education Day. George felt nervous, but ready. However, when Dr. Antonelli ran the analysis, the results were devastating. George was informed that his mind was inadequate for receiving superimposed knowledge. He couldn't be a programmer, or a metallurgist, or even a registered laborer. George was classified as unfit for any profession, a literal nothing. He was taken to an isolated complex, officially called the Institute of Higher Studies, but known bitterly among its occupants as the House for the Feeble-Minded. The institution was a haven of despair. George's roommate, Hallie Omani, a registered psychologist who had been educated in the house, urged him to accept his fate and focus on reading manual books to gain slow, incremental knowledge. But George refused. He felt he had been unfairly targeted by the vindictive Dr. Antonelli. The arrival of May, Olympics month, brought George's resentment to a fever pitch. The Olympics were where the newly educated professionals competed for assignments on Outworlds. George ran away, seizing the small savings he had accumulated in his jar. He was determined to find someone important enough to force a review of his case. In San Francisco, amidst the bustling Olympic activity, George spotted his old friend, Stubby Trevelyan, competing in non-ferrous metallurgy. Trevelyan was doing poorly, failing to score well enough for his desired planet, Novia. Why? Because his implanted knowledge tapes were outdated. They covered Hensler machines, but the competition used newer Beeman microspectrographs. Trevelyan's rigid specialization, unable to adapt without a new tape, became George's revelation. Through the help of a registered historian, Ladislas Ionescu, George secured a video conference with a Novian official. George argued passionately that Earth's tape system was fundamentally flawed. It produced rigid specialists who were easily superseded. George claimed that Novia should adopt an education system based on manual learning, teaching from books, mathematics, and critical thought, to develop true original thinkers who could innovate without needing constant new tapes from Earth. The Novian listened, but ultimately dismissed the proposal. Manual learning was simply too slow. Why spend 5 years training a single individual when that individual's hard-won knowledge might already be obsolete by graduation? George was crushed. He had failed. He cried out that the Novian official was drunk and had refused to believe him. Unable to grasp the true magnitude of his suggestion, he was quickly sedated and returned to the house. When George finally awoke with a clear mind, Omani revealed the truth. George had not been framed. There was a deep reason he was untappable. George realized that he had wanted Novia to replicate exactly what the House for the Feeble-Minded already did. The system of tapes was efficient, but it stifled creation. It needed original minds to invent the new instruments, like the beam and spectrograph, and create the new educational tapes. But creative capacity, the ability for original creative thought, was subtle and could not be detected by machines. The house was the final cruel test. It took individuals flagged as potential geniuses, about 1 in 10,000, labeled them as feeble-minded, and waited. Only those who refused to accept the label, who were driven by innate curiosity and self-belief to learn by themselves, like George, proved their originality and became the generation's much-needed inventors and innovators. They were the foundation supporting the advancing technology of 1,500 worlds. George Platen, the boy who couldn't be educated, was now George Platen, a free and powerful creative mind. He had been rescued from the stifling oblivion of specialization and placed where he truly belonged. The mystery was solved, but the truth was a heavy burden, a necessary cruelty to ensure the advancement of civilization. George finished his meal, stood up, and asked Omani one final question. Why do they call them